1 minute.
Well, welcome back. We're live. Cars are exiting the pit lane for their warm-up laps. This is the EFRA 1/10th IC Track European Championships, brought to you by X-Ray. And it's the penultimate heat. It's the wide class. All 5 of them out on track for their warm-up laps. And we got Frank in the booth.
Hello there, Matt. Hello, world. And hello, Zach, on the moving camera. So as you can see on the screen, we've got Silvio Pipparato, Bob Harley from the UK, Nigel Philpott, Melvin Diekman, and Thilo Diekman. And some exciting, fresh, amazing, deep dive, journalistic, high quality updates.
Oh, you're building this up. I'm looking forward to this. This is really being built up.
Oh my gosh, it's such a big.
This is Netflix level.
This is like
docudrama.
Not just Netflix, like at least 8 episode Netflix documentary special level sort of update on the Diekman clan. You know that the series that came out about in South Carolina about that the lawyer who was doing all sorts of stuff, and he recently went to jail for killing
the Murdaughs.
The Murdaughs, yeah. I think even bigger than that.
Wow.
So, are you ready? I mean, now is the perfect time to bring it up because they're warming up. Both of the Diekmans, Thilo and Melvin, are both in this one. Melvin, okay. I'm not sure how old Thilo is, but he said that he's older than Melvin. Melvin is 25, so I'm guessing Thilo's like early 30s, mid 30s. I don't know. Anyway, so the reason why they have the same last name, however, they are not brothers, is Thilo married Melvin's sister and took her last name.
There you go.
Bombshell. Literal multiple atomic bombshells. That's what we're here for, folks. Hard-hitting journalistic endeavors. Have you gone speechless, Matt? Or have I simply just unplugged it?
No, sorry, I've gone speechless. I'm just doing a few bits of procedure to get us fully out there to the internet, but I think we can go over to the 4th round of qualifying for 110 wide.
Perfect. Okay. So here we are. Just, again, a super quick recap. These are the refreshed new version of the 235 millimeter nitro track cars. Folks who have been racing nitro for a couple decades may remember these from back in the day, as us kids say. So these are basically their wider nitro touring cars with wider body shells, wider tires, and just wider overall. So instead of 200 mil, they're 235 mil. They're about the same length, I think. The bodies look about the same, but when you look at the car side by side, obviously these are a lot wider. And this is meant to be. This is like a. Anybody was able to enter into this one. It's not a full European Championship category because there are only 5 guys in it, 5 racers. But hopefully this will become a big thing, like similar to how Fronty and modified touring car, and there's GT12 and 12th scale, and there's F1 large scale and large scale touring car. So it's the same sort of thing. I think it's a really good idea. And if it wasn't going to get introduced into this class, it probably would have been introduced into the 1/8 category. They used to race not side by side literally, but on the same tracks and at the same events anyway, the 1/8 and the 235. So here we are. That's what this is. We do have a really cool feature featuring the super ultra controversial Thilo Diekmann. And he has a nice little explainer for us, showing us his car. So it's pretty cool. I think it's a great idea to expand the nitro racing because as I'm sure lots of people are aware, nitro touring car, it's kind of dropping in popularity, especially compared to off-road. So 1/10 off-road is getting big again. 1/8 off-road has never really dipped in popularity, I don't think. So yeah, this is pretty good. I think it's a good sort of feeder class and like an additional sort of support class, if you will. Formula One has Porsche Super Cup and stuff like that. So it's a similar sort of idea. So anyway, they have been off and running. It's a minute and a half left. We have I'm not sure which Diekmann is ahead. I'm going to assume it's Thilo Diekmann. Although in 1/10, you'll see that from the controlled practice seating, Melvin is in the last round of qualifying for the touring car, 1/10, and Thilo is in the second fastest group. So I'm not sure which Diekmann is ahead at the moment. So let's see who we're following coming onto the main straight. Sorry, there's a lot of preamble there. So, but car number 5, that's one of the fastest Diekmann. So let's stick with this one because it's very likely that this is going to be our top qualifier in the category. As he's coming around the hairpin, going into the pit area complex. A pretty sharp series of pair of corners there. Coming down the main straight, hitting probably 60, 70 miles an hour. Oh, we got a dead car just in front of us. It's all right. You may have heard it on the ambient mic, which is almost pointed directly at the crash site. So it's a nice little break from the Buzzin' Hornets. Down the main straight and across the finish line again, around the hairpin, into the pit area complex, decreasing radius turns there, straightening the kink out, little bit of throttle, and then off hard on the throttle there, coming into the sweeper going onto the straight. And we are done already. So, it's 4-minute qualifiers, and the qualifiers, as opposed to the way I was saying previously, the qualifying is done basically just as a straight-up race. So the maximum number of laps you can do in the shortest amount of time.
Good stuff. Great stuff. Weather looks like you were threatening us over the lunch break with thunderstorms and showers and pestilence.
Locusts?
Doesn't look that... Sorry? Locusts?
Locusts. No, we do have some... frogs. We do have some thunderstorm-looking anvil-shaped clouds that people around the world are probably familiar with. But the range of low mountains that are directly in front of us kind of encircle this sort of area where the Naxos, the Taormina Bay is. I'm not sure exactly which it's called. It's a gulf of something. And anyway, we do have basically they collect the dark clouds and then they kind of blow over. And we did honestly hear some thunder earlier. So we've covered as much of the equipment as we can, but it seems like the immediate threat of rain is diminished. The organizers basically set the time schedule. So EFRA doesn't set the time schedule. So no complaints about EFRA, anybody. the organizers have been rushing through the rounds, so we could have a bit more relaxed pace, but they're trying to beat the rain to finish all of the qualifiers because of that threat of rain. We may have a thunder shower, we may not. There was earlier in the day, it was a 20% chance. I think currently it's a 5%, but obviously it depends on what weather service you look at, and there's all sorts of factors. So I do see another. It's maybe not quite a band of rain, but there's definitely a threatening cloud over the mountain that's directly in front of us, in front of the main camera. And we did have the last rain that we heard on the roof of the hotel last night was at about midnight. But as far as I know, this area hasn't had any actual rain all day. But the wind has picked up again, and so we'll just see.
You will never guess which Italian multiple world champion is watching this live stream right now.
Well, first guess is Kalari.
Yeah, I was going to say the first guess that you won't go for is going to be wrong. It's David Ongaro is watching.
Hey!
Hello to David.
Hello, David Ongaro. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
We also have Daniel Malley. Hello, RC World from California, USA.
Excellent.
Californian watching. Their comments on EFRA's Facebook page.
Yeah, we should mention that.
Yeah. Go on.
We are showing on the EFRA Facebook page, RC Racing TV Facebook, and also on the YouTube channels of both of those as well. And are we on another YouTube channel as well?
EFRA's. Oh yes, we're on Mika News, I believe.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Our new friend Mika News for our German fans watching.
Hello, Michael.
So, yes.
Yeah. Are we getting German commentary on that, or are they just just using this very super professional audio feed?
Exactly. Yeah. He assures us that many Germans speak English. And as long as it's not Nick Damon, then they're able to understand. So we should be good with you, Frank. We should be fine.
Perfetto. Ausgezeichnet. Bonjour.
Alles klar.
Yes. Alles klar.
Yeah. Genau. Anyway, it looks like they're going out now.
So yes, hello to everybody across Europe and across the world, whether you're in the U.S., Asia, wherever you're at, hello. So you can watch us on at least 3 YouTube channels and at least 2 Facebook pages, wherever you might be commenting. I mean, we are trying to maintain communications, friendly communications with everybody wherever you're commenting. I was saying earlier when you were off air, Matt, that potentially maybe just stick to the RCTV, but obviously you're looking at everything else. So that's great. So we've got in this one, obviously, as you can see on the live timing, which is moving up and down all the time because these guys have just started. So there's going to be a lot of movement up and down on the overall timing in the early stages. It does slow down. The computer does sort that out, and it does slow down that movement up and down. So apologies if I repeat someone's name or pause a bit. We've got Scuderi, Dalia, Fiqueira, Grassa, Jones, Abramo, Caruana, Cauchi, and De Casare. Or De Casare? I don't know. I'm probably adding some Italian inflection in there when most of those people aren't Italian, but I'm going to guess because we're in Italy, usually the host nation gets plenty of allotments for the driver positions, and the wind is really starting to pick up. You might be able to hear that on the mic. Flags are cracking, like literally vertical flags or horizontal. Oh, we got a bit of argy-bargy, as we say, between the green and the pink car. Oh, and that is a nasty hit. Save that one. There's a lot of... This is the lowest of the Nitro Touring car heats, So these are the not quite as fast as the fastest guys. So there's going to be a little bit more action as these guys are trying to pass each other and get their laps in, trying to improve their position of where they're going to start in the finals. At the moment, just so you know, speaking of finals, we are due to have the quarterfinal B and quarterfinal A kick off today at 5:30. That may or may not happen. That is still in the hands of the race organizer. We are going to have the Super Pole kickoff at 4:45, which I'm told with 99% certainty by a certain Mr. Alex Thurston, who I believe is nearly in the Super Bowl category, that it's the top 4. So he says the top 4 drivers. He did say that because his mother is the chairman of the group, that he really ought to know, but he wasn't sure. So I didn't say that. He said that to me. What else? The other bit of news was... Yes?
I was going to say my understanding is it's the top 4, but obviously the pole man doesn't go in, so it's drivers 2 to 5. 2
through 3. Oh, 2. Oh, right. 2 through 5. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The other bit of news I wanted to share as we're watching the green car go onto the main straight is the Dominines. That is the number 3 of Delia. Filippo Dominin, officially, the last time I looked at the PDFs that are on the Padlet.com site, officially he's only got in 1 run, but I asked Fabio, his father, and he said they've got their laps, it's okay. So that remains to be seen. So time has expired on the Heat 2, which is actually the first of the touring car heats. And we will see where everybody sorts themselves out. At the moment, it's Scuderi, Delia, Ficerda, Dan Jones, Cauchi, Abramo, De Casare, Grassa, and Caruana. And usually on the final results we have little flags and stuff like that, but for I think it's just because of the timing system that is being used by the track. We don't have that handy, but you'll see the finishing positions for the 4th round of qualifying for this group. Also, it doesn't look like they did any sort of resort. I'm sure that's specific to the EFRA rules, so it's not down to the track. So we do have some flags in there, but not many. These are the Maltese. Delia, Cauchi, De Casare, and Caruana are all from Malta.
Comments starting to pick up now. Obviously, we started on a high with our double Nitro 1/8 off-road world champion joining us, Davide Ongaro. We started on a high, but all of you are just as important as a world champion. You're all champions to us.
Exactly.
You tune into this. Daniel Lu 01 is asking what type of engine are they running, like what brand. So there's a mixture of engines out there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a bunch of engines. I think obviously Daniele Ialesi and his wife are both here supporting their drivers. I don't think there's any OS. There's a lot of, I mean, to be honest, back from when I used to attempt nitro racing, the brand names have completely changed. You know, OS used to be one of the big ones, and I don't know, I guess a lot of people tune the OS engines, so they're not called OS anymore. They just sell them under their own brand names, which I'm pretty sure, I think that's what Ialesi does.
I would guess the Damanis are running FX.
Yes,
engines?
I was going to say, yeah, the Hudi, most guess. Or all of the X-Ray racers are going to be running the FX Hudi engine. There's a good number of X-Ray racers. There's also a good number of Capricorn and Infinity racers. So we don't have a tech sheet of people, and we haven't had time to run around and get that information individually from the racers.
Mr. Matt Guppy is saying hi, guys. Matt Guppy, you might know, he's our favourite commentator on RC Racing TV.
Okay. Right.
No, our favourite Matt. He's our favourite Matt on RC Racing TV. And
he's our favourite Matt with 2 T's.
Yeah, they need a few jumps to spice things up. True.
They used to have jumps here.
Quite a bit of air this morning. We saw quite a bit of air on the track this morning.
Yeah.
You're right. Have you confirmed that is you are at the facility where Ty Tessman won his Worlds?
We are, yes. We did mention that in the interview with Alessio.
Okay.
And also the stage where the podium is, it still says, I think it's 2014 or 2016 IFMAR Worlds, which is when that happened. Yeah. So this did used to be an off-road circuit, and actually, if you look at the aerial photograph on Google Maps for Mini Autodromo Giordani Naxos in Sicily, you can type all that in. You can find this location, and it's still a grass and dirt track in roughly the same layout. The bank, the sweepers at both ends of the track are the same in the off-road configuration. And yeah, it's a bit like an RC track that used to exist near where I live in the UK. It used to be a BMX track, and now, and then it became a touring car, a paved RC track after the BMX kind of kids grew up, I guess, and stopped using it. So yeah, it's something you've seen before, but never for a former world championship track.
And the clock has started running.
Yeah. Sorry, waffling on as usual. So we've got Gloren, Mussolino, Turco Bryce, Scuderi, Legay, Pelois, Eduardo, Domanin. That's the younger of the Domanin brothers. It's Francesco Domanin, Reiskov, and Vandal, Teddy Vandal. I think that's one of Nick's favorite drivers. Yeah, here in the shadow of Mount Etna. We're between Etna and Taormina, which is where there's a lot of filming of The Godfather that was done in the area. And also the White Lotus Season 2, which was set in Sicily. And we actually popped by the hotel where that was filmed. So we're following some track action coming out onto the main straight. This bright green car chasing down the pink 9. That's the number 2 in the green. And that's our leader of this qualifying run, Mussolino, out there trying to catch up that number 9 car of Domanin. So that's Francesco in the pink. And Mussolino tracking him down. You can see him pulling in that rope very, very slowly. Seems to be catching by a few car lengths every lap. He's going to get past them soon enough, it seems. It looks like Francesco's he's pretty tidy. I mean, I don't think he's more than 9 or 10 years old. Fairly active little kid. His father saying he doesn't really put the effort into it. And it's one of these things like, as a dad, you go, wow, if we just tried a little bit harder and maybe didn't do this and didn't do that, he'd be so much faster. But I think he kind of does it because his dad is really into the RC, and so is his brother, obviously. Filippo, will see him in a couple of races' time. Oh, Mussolino getting off track there. Oh, and there goes Francesco onto the grass as well. So there goes Mussolino past him into the hairpin. And now proceeding onwards. Full power now onto that straight. Around the sweeper, around this 90-degree bend. Lots and lots of cars getting sideways there just a bit. And if you go out too far, you end up onto the green, which is even dirtier. And at worst, you end up in the wall and possibly breaking one of your suspension arms and knocking yourself out of contention for that run. So across the finish line again, still in the top section, top of the run. So we've got Mussolino, Palois, Gloren, Legay, Scuderi, Domanin in 7th. He's just dropped down a bit as he pulled in. He's lost a lot of places now. He's just crossed again. Now he's come back up. Turco Bryce has dropped down surprisingly, and Vandal, I just noticed hasn't even started, so we've got a DNS for him. So the wind is still quite strong, I would say. It doesn't seem to be affecting the cars going down the straight. I'm curious. That might be a... Ooh, and we got... Did we catch that? No, we didn't. Sorry. Crashing car coming directly at me. So we're still on Mussolino, I think. See if there's any other cars that are together. Of course, these guys are trying not to run together necessarily. Let's go down to the pit area. Oh, no, sorry. The run is over and cars are coming into the pits. Just saw 2 cars coming together. I thought it might be a good opportunity. Got the number 3 car running out of fuel, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully they got their last run. That was Freddie Palois. Running out of fuel just literally about 5 or 10 yards before the finish line. So I'm not sure if he missed a lap or not. Would it have made a difference? It would. It might have. It might have bumped him into second. So
Daniel Malley is saying, I'm wondering what happened to OPS. Used to be some good engine way back in time. I don't know if you're familiar with OPS, Frank.
I think I've heard the brand name, but yeah, it's one of those sort of, I don't know. I tend to, yeah, I think probably most people who used to race a lot, you know, you'd be familiar of like a factory, like OS makes all the bits of the engines, or FX or something like that, and then you have the tuners. So I don't know if OPS was a tuner or not. But yeah, there's lots of like those little brands that have like come and gone over the years.
Speaking of the weather, Daniel Liu said, in my day, we had tyres that ran in the rain.
Yeah.
Which obviously we do in the electric. We do run in the rain. But
yeah.
In this class, we don't.
Electric uses rubber tires for both, and they have separate cars set up. So I think one, having the cars with the engine and all that stuff set up is just too much, like a second car. And also it's up to the individual racers, I suppose, isn't it? Or also having a product that will enable you to do it, so that the foam tires just will not let you do it. It's basically like it's running slicks. So I think there used to be, or I know there used to be some quote-unquote rain tires that were basically foam tires with deep grooves cut in them. I think that was a real product, and those kind of disappeared. I think they just didn't sell enough, so they were stopped getting made, I think.
Okay.
And that was a while
Williams,
back.
Good morning from Good morning to BJ Williams from Charlotte, North Carolina,
Hey.
USA, watching on behalf of the No Name RC podcast. Well, this is a Nitro event, and as you would say, Nitro is the glory. He's also here with some engine assistants: Pico, Sirio, Nova Rossi, OS. So many brands I remember. He says.
Yeah, those all, yeah,
Pico.
very. Yeah, we used to use. I used to use Nova Rossi engines, and those even used to be sold as own brand under. I believe it was. I think HPI was the only own brand that they had. OEM'd. So there's a car with a damaged. No, it's not shown. It just went past the camera that we're on now. Anyway, we're just in the warm-up. We've got a car with body damage that is getting sorted out in the pits. The number 7 of, who is that? Cazal. So in this one, we've got the older of the two Domanin brothers, Filippo. It's interesting how families sometimes do this. So there's father Fabio, and then there's older brother, or first son Filippo, and then the second son Francesco. So I always kind of chuckle at that. This one has Tilo Diekman in it. Melvin Diekman is in the next one, the fastest group, and then we've got Stefanizzi, Lycaris, the Greek racer, Guillermo, Guerrita, Cazal from France, and then Perella, Shepis, and Strasser. I'm going to guess from Germany. It's a small German contingent here. I think obviously the Italians making up the largest numbers, but not like overwhelmingly large. They're not like half the racers. But there's a good number of them.
Good number of Italians on track, but there's a good number of you from all over the world watching this. Jorge Flores, hi from Puerto Rico. Maxi Diaz, hi from Spain. We already know we've got California, we've got Charlotte. Serpent Freak 82 says Kissling tyres. I don't know if that's a reference to the grooved foam tyres you were referring to before.
Possibly.
But
I can't remember the brand.
The clock has begun.
Yep, and we are off. Let's, I believe it's going to be an orange car, the car number 1. See if we can find him out there. I think he's not crossed yet. Oh, well, he was in an orange car. These guys have about 10 or 11 body shells each. Just for all different sorts of setups. Cars moving back and forth. Oh, there we go, sliding around that last corner. Coming towards you, Zach, in the pit area, the first of the orange cars, the brighter of the orange cars, the car number 1, that's Filippo Domanin, I think followed by the 7 of Cazal. Domanin not doing a super impressive first lap. 16 seconds again, but he's moved up a spot. So Domanin, let's stick with him and follow his progress on the timing tower to the right of screen. You see as he comes across, where does he come up? Does he move? No, he doesn't. So I thought he might. Maybe we'll keep an eye on him because he's an exciting racer to watch. I used to love watching Darren Bloomfield run Nitro Buggy because he's a bit wild, but he's good enough to pull it off. And this kid is just on the verge of being able to do the exact same thing. He's a wild driver. You see him getting sideways there. Maybe a little slow through that hairpin. See, as he moved up, there he goes into second. No, sorry, that's Diekman. Domanin, though, is in 5th. He's dropped down a bit because there are other drivers coming through. But there's going to be a lot of movement in that timing tower on the right of screen in these first minute or so. And then it does calm down a bit as the average lap time, or as the average time, expected finishing time sorts itself out. So Domanin coming across again. What does he come across? Second. So, yeah, he's going to be challenging for top 3 in this one. I was mentioning earlier, the qualifying heats are packed. So there's 10 in every heat all the way down to the fourth one. So there's Tilo, who finished 3rd at the Euros last year. Slightly surprised that he didn't go straight into the fastest group of racers, but the one round of controlled practice today set the seeding for the qualifying. That selected sort of the positions of the qualifying groups. If you see what I mean. Because we had lots and lots of rain yesterday and lots of rain the day before, there was a lot of practice time that was lost. So the controlled practice was basically this morning. One round of controlled practice set everybody's qualifying group. So maybe Tilo didn't have the greatest single run, and that was they were trying to get 3 consecutive fast laps. And now that we are in qualifying, they're going for maximum power, full speed, strength, speed all the way. Domanin in the top spot now. Diekman in 3rd. Guillermo, Diekman, Domanin Shepis all battling for their top 4 spots. Dominine back up into top. So I think Dominine's in with a good chance of being in the straight into the semis. So again, speaking of the finals, don't know if the quarterfinals which are scheduled to run today, that may change. So we're not quite sure yet. The organizers, the club organizers set the time schedule, and they've been trying to beat the rain and basically just running the classes very quickly through. Even though we don't have a packed house here, they've been trying to get all the qualifiers and the round of finals in today. But if there is no rain, there's a potential, although I would think that this would have already been decided, there's a potential that we might get another round or two of qualifying in at the end of the day. So there we go. That's Dominine, Guillermo, Diekman, Lekaris, Shepes, Strasser, Stefanizzi, Kazau, Pirella, and Girita.
It's time for a bit of a roll call because people are watching from all over the world, and I want more people to claim their country and their location.
Yes.
We had Puerto Rico, we had Spain, we had California, we had Charlotte. We now have Luciano from South Africa. We have Alex from Greece.
Excellent.
We have HPI RS4M. Hello from Canada, Montreal. And we have Akeem Seeley. Greetings from the Virgin Islands. Hello.
Wow. Nice. We need to have a race there, you know.
Very good stuff. We do need to have a race there. Invite us, Akeem. Invite us there for a race.
Yeah, organize a race and you know, make sure that there's plenty of sponsorship for live streaming, some live broadcasting.
Yeah. Brosslety is kind of requesting to see a wider variety of cars. So we haven't had any specific requests.
Yes, we haven't had any requests from anybody, actually. So, yeah.
So, yeah, send in your requests. We'll try and cover a wide range of the cars. Who we got here? Juan Mark Guerrero. Hi from Dominican Republic. Hello there, sir. Serpent Freaks from Germany too. They're coming in thick and fast now. This is fantastic. And you're all here just in time for the top heat to go out for their 4th round of qualifying. The penultimate round of qualifying. I can tell you after 3 rounds, Dario is on pole. He TQ'd round 2 and 3. Tony Gruber took round 1. So currently, as things stand on pole, we have Dario, Tony Gruber behind him. On 3rd, Carmine Raiola and Francesco Tironi in 4th in the standings, but there's still this heat and 1 more heat of qualifying to go. So whilst Dario's made a very strong start, it is still to play for.
Yes, it's the all-important qualifying. And yes, apologies for not really moving the camera from car to car all that much. There are only 4 minutes per qualifying round, and it is, like I said, a bit rushed. But in this one, we will try to cover a few more different cars. Maybe follow Alex Thurston, probably the best Great Britain, hope for Great Britain to take it. We'll see if we can find Mazzeo, maybe, let's see, Gruber. I don't think we've really followed him. Tironi, Milan Holtius also, he's a fast guy, so we'll see. We'll try to follow. I think we did follow Gruber a little bit earlier in the day, so we'll try to follow some new guys, some new single-color bodies for everybody.
And, of course, can Dario lock in pole? Can he make 3 rounds?
Yeah, and
if he wins this
sit
one,
out.
Then he is TQ. Let's see.
Yeah, and sit out the Super Pole shootout, which is always, it's like one less bit of stress, and then he doesn't have to do anything for the rest of the, until the end of the day tomorrow. So the bright pink and white with black trim number 9 of Alex Thurston. We'll try to follow him out first, Zach, just so you know. Let's see where he's actually pitting. I think, no, it's not directly under you. He's about halfway down the pit lane. Let's see his dad. So it looks like the wind has died down a bit. There's still some mildly threatening clouds on the over the hill, but we're okay. So 30 seconds. So cars are already going out. They don't have to go out right this second. There you go. Yeah, I think you're on them. There, Zach. Perfect. That's Alex Thurston from the UK. I only found out like a couple of weeks ago he doesn't live actually too far from me. So it's interesting. We're almost neighbors. So Alex, he was running really well in the Euros last year. Had a bad glow plug, and I think he'll admit that he had a bit of a mini freak out. He was quite upset, but as you'll see in the chat we have with him later on, he had a nice, it ended up being kind of like almost a calming effect in the end for him. So he's calmed himself down, and he's not trying to push himself to be the absolute very best in this class, and enjoying it more of as a hobby, which is, that's how we all start, isn't it? So running down the main straight, crossing the finish line, into the hairpin. Quick flip of the throttle into the, just let it coast around that really tight section. Straighten the kink up. He does that perfectly, almost. He does have a car there to kind of throw his eye off. Down the main straight, hitting 60, 70 miles an hour across the main straight, the finish line again. That's the car 0 that he's really hassling. That's Spiniello, trying to get past Spiniello or force a mistake. Obviously, they're both they're long live time. They're not trying to do just 1 or 2 fast laps. There you go. Spiniello gives him plenty of space, actually handily going out into the dirt to let him pass, and doesn't upset his car too much. So Spiniello now all over the back of Thurston, but Thurston's almost certainly going to pull away now and make up some space. But Spiniello is now, is he hassling Thurston now? He's maybe Thurston is young Alex.
Balestri's just out front with Tony Gruber just a second behind him, and Raiola as well.
Let's see where we can find these guys. At least Balestri's running his race scheme, so we can. He's easy to pick up, he says, as he looks for him. Car 7 spinning out. Okay, just going into the hairpin and about to go into the white, pink, and with the gray back end. Going through the kink now and into the first of the inner sweepers. Oh, and got almost a dead car crashing into the fence in front of me. So luckily it's there. So Balestri going through and around the kink now. The inside sweeper, the outside sweeper onto the main straight. Full power, full gas all the way down the straight. 90-degree turn across the finish line. And he's holding on to that top spot with less than a minute to go. So it looks like he's going to take pole in this one with Gruber. Where's Gruber? I think Gruber's in the white car. No, Gruber's in the 1. I think Gruber's one of the... Gruber's just crossing now. So, yes, he is the next car behind. But Balestri basically, at the moment, army of 1... all on his own, passing the stricken car of the recently crashed of Melvin Diekman. So we'll let this finish out. It's got 10 seconds to go, so Gruber hoping for a mistake from Balestri to keep his hopes alive of taking pole, but it looks like that is not going to happen. and they are both finished now, pulling into the pits. So Grosskamp finishing now. Everyone coming across to finish their last lap. There goes Thurston. So Balestre, Gruber, Grosskamp, Tironi, Thurston, Holtius, Mazzeo, Spiniello, Raiola, and Melvin Diekman didn't actually wasn't able to finish. He had a big crash coming off of the 90-degree turn at the end of the straight, and we'll try to put a picture in on the EFRA photo album for this, because there's the fence that catches the cars that crash in that specific spot. It's bowed out so much. The mesh fencing has bowed out so much that you can actually get lost in the grass. It's a pretty popular crashing place. So there we go. That's the results of Heat 5. And in the YouTube, and I believe in the Facebook posts during the day, if you don't find it in one, you'll find it in another. You'll find just looking for the rankings.
Yeah, they're not been published yet. I think unofficially, it seems to me that we can say that Dario Balestri is top qualifier, but that is subject to becoming official with the timing system. So we're waiting on that. But he has TQ'd 3 rounds out of 5.
That would seem to be a lock, wouldn't it?
I think even my maths should be able to say that. Tony Gruber TQ'd 1, so I guess, and I think Dario basically did very similar to this last year. I'm pretty sure he TQ'd last year, and he just did a bit of experimenting during the 5th round of qualifying, whereas the other guys are going to be going hell for leather to try and get into the Super Pole, because of course they want to get bumped up straight into semi-final. But they've only got one race to get through anyway if they don't, but that race could be make or break, of course. Thank you to everybody who's watching along, whether you're in Spain, South Africa, Canada, Germany, Virginia Beach, USA, Melvin Alston. Melvin, you are more than welcome.
Nice.
Thank you for being with us. This is the EFRA 110th IC Track European Championships. We are coming to the sharp end of qualifying with 1 round to go. Thank you to X-Ray for sponsoring this live stream. X-Ray are our sponsor here, and they are supporting us, and we are very grateful that they are getting behind us, and they see the value in what we do, and they help out in order to make life a little bit easier and get this stream on the air. So there you go.
And supporting
can't
RC
hear
Racing.
any engines at the moment.
No,
Exactly,
definitely not.
yes.
No one is coming out with cars or anything. So, I mean, we're scheduled to be 3:20 local time, and we're a couple minutes, 2.5 minutes from that, ish.
Okay, so it's probably, I won't say a cup of tea, like I said before, they're probably having another cappuccino. We'll go to a very short ad break.
straight, and across the line. That is the wish. That is the win.
Dominic Greiner has won already. He just needs to cross the line. So he does so. Dominic Greiner is our European champion.
Welcome back to the EFRA 1/10 IC Track European Championships. You are joining us live from Sicily, where we are coming towards the end of qualifying. We have one round to go. Matthias Bauer was asking, when is the Super Pole? Well, one thing I'll say is nothing is when you expect it to be, such is the nature of dealing with the weather and how things have gone so far. But in theory, Super Pole is at 16:45 CET local time. So 3:45 if you're in the UK, 4:45 if you're in Europe, and if you're in the rest of the world, Google it. But thank you for joining. Hello from Denmark, from Reen Burke Jepson. Great to have you with you. Melissimo Martelli. Grande Dario Balestri, indeed. And gosh, Kelly, thanks for the coverage from Brisbane, Australia. Guys, this wouldn't be worth doing if you weren't watching, so thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to X-Ray for sponsoring us and helping us make this coverage possible. Thank you to EFRA for creating the rules and the guidelines and the fairness that brings all these nations together in order to compete for what we call the European Championships. Good morning, Joseph Franchetti from Pennsylvania. Good to have you with us.
Yeah, it is still
we are told
morning
that the
there.
track, yeah, we're told the track is going to be welcoming on the Heat 1, which is the 1/10 wide, in just a moment or so.
Yeah,
If I understand that right, Frank.
Yeah, can't hear any engines running just yet, but I'm sure we're just moments away from hearing them fire up. Yeah, and one thing we should mention, I suppose, while we have this little break, is the RCTV podcast.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, we've just cranked it up. If you're on any of the podcasting systems, you should be able to find it.
RC Racing TV. So you got to
Yes.
search for RC Racing TV, right?
Yeah, just search for RC Racing TV, and there's already one episode up. It's we're going to start sort of filling it with what we call classics. 2 minutes to start. The race announcer is calling. But yeah, so probably plenty of stuff. I mean, I don't know about anybody else. When I listen to something or I watch a show, as long as it's not like a current event sort of thing, I'm happy to go back and listen to something, a few months or a few years later even, and go, oh yeah, I forgot. I remembered watching this, but I forgot about this, because the first couple episodes are going to include Breakfast of Champions, which we did. There's like Masami and Mayfield, and I'm not sure if Cavalier's in there. Ronafalk is in there. So there's a spread of champions.
With Cecil Schumacher.
Yeah, that's another one. There's a bunch of good
with
stuff.
Cecil Schumacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure
absolutely.
and look for that, and then so once you find out on whatever system you use, whether it's Spotify or iTunes, whatever, it'll be on there, and we are adding it to other systems as well, like Pandora and I think Deezer and some other ones as well. So we're working on adding those. So yeah, make sure and have to make sure and get that mention in there. So we're just
Alessandro Godoy is joining us from Brazil.
Excellent. All over the world, worldwide. For
Like
sure.
Pitbull.
So cars and mechanics are coming out for the wide class. Wide is just the new, that's maybe the modern term. The current term for the old school 235 millimeter racing class, which used to be like the 1/10th version of the 1/8 nitro on roads, kind of the Formula One of RC. So this is a class that's sort of a feeder class to nitro touring car, which has gotten slightly complicated over the years. Quite compact, narrow, lots of downforce, narrow tires, lots and lots of power. And so these use the same chassis basically, but just wider tires, wider body shells, slightly different rear body mount position. If you're familiar with 1/8 on-road, it uses the same type of rear body mount. And that's almost about it, really. We have a cool talk with Thilo Diekman, showing us his 235mm car and explaining what the differences are and why the class exists. But basically, it's a cool feeder nitro on-road class for nitro touring car. So there's a few of the guys are here, and hopefully we'll see this class grow and expand over time. And like I was saying earlier, if you've got an old nitro touring car, throw some wide tires on it and get one of these body shells. You don't have to have the special direct-to-rear hub rear body mount system, but if you do, great. I'm sure lots of people can fashion one up themselves these days with 3D printing or nuts and bolts and stuff like that. And get a few of your mates together down at the Nitro Touring Club and tell the race organizer there that you'd like to just give it a go. So we got 3 guys out there running. It looks like one of the Diekmans is out there. Bob Harley is out there. This is just warm up. So we're just waiting for see if more guys show up. Assuming they will. Tila was telling us, telling me that us in the Royal telling me that he just didn't have time to do it earlier, and that's why he had to miss a round earlier in the day. But in the end, I think it's going to end up being probably Diekman versus Diekman for the overall win in this one. And just so full disclosure, sort of, this is not because there's only 5 racers in it. This isn't a full European Championship. It's just a demonstration class, sort of. I think it was called an invitation class. In the sense that anyone was invited to take part. And most of these racers are Nitro Touring Car guys anyway. And I think Tilo is the only one, or Tilo and Melvin are both running in the touring car category as well. So it looks like no one's rushing to come out. So we're only going to have 3 in this one. This is going to be a pretty easy one to commentate. As I've already missed the first car going past. The car number 1. That's his Piperato. Full throttle almost from just a yard from the apex of that hairpin coming onto the straight. Ooh, little slide there. Well, big slide, I should say. For as much aero and mechanical grip from the tires as these cars have, they do love to get them sideways, which looks great, to be honest. But just not the fastest way to get around the corner. Coming around, I found out actually during our lunch break that is called the 90-degree corner. There is dedicated to someone who used to be a member of the club, sadly passed away, named Pepe. I think it's Pepe Catanzaro. So we'll call that one Pepe's Corner because that's what it's called. So we've got number 1 car Piperato rapidly catching Philpott. And I already passed as I looked down to check the name of the driver of that blue and white car. Bob Harley in the red and white number 2 is next. So we'll stay on Pipperato as he's straightening out the kink. And look at the speed he gets on Bob. Bob, one of the friendly faces we tend to see at, well, I can't remember a Nitro race, Nitro Onward race where I haven't seen Bob's smiling face. Always pitting with the Thurstons. Alex, who we were following on the track earlier, and Papa Alex. Pipperato coming down the main straight again through Pepe's corner, across the finish line. Very tight hairpin there, another hairpin, and then coasting through this decreasing radius turn, straightening out that kink. Nah, not quite. And then full throttle from there. Almost as soon as you've cleared the apex, back on the throttle as much as possible, as much as you dare. For the really quick guys, of course, they're full gas as soon as they clear the corner. Getting a little bit wrong there. Let's drop down to the red and white car about to come on the straight. Let's see if we can find him. Follow Bob for a couple of laps. I don't think we show Bob quite enough. And he's coming up the chute out of the pit section, through the kink, and around the sweeper. Down the straight. These cars getting almost as fast as the touring cars. They're a bit wider. They have a lot more downforce. So they're easier to drive, but they are just a bit slower because of that. And like I was saying earlier, this looks like one of those classes I would just love to give a try to. But I think at my skill level, I would probably be better off with the one of the GT8 cars, which is hopefully going to come to this track next year. They're going to be the first European Championship for the GT8 category in electric and nitro is going to be held in Croatia in just a couple of weeks' time. So that is everyone done. We're just following Bob as the last one to get caught by the timing loop right now. And he is completed and back into the pit lane. So neither of the Diekmans came out. Yes.
By the way, it's not the first Nitro 8 GT European Championship. It was in Lostalo last year.
That was an international race.
Are you sure? I don't think it was.
That's what the chairman of the group has told me in our chat that we'll televise later.
Well, then I will bow to the chairman, of course. I will, of course, bow to the chairman, but I understood differently. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what we shall see.
We shall. As we move on to the traditional 1/10 class now for 4 rounds of qualifying. The final 4 rounds of, the final 4 heats of qualifying is Q5. Yeah, people continuing to interact on the stream, which is great stuff.
Excellent stuff.
Not everyone's speaking English, which is great. Talk to each other in whatever language you wish, but I won't attempt to read it out. When is the Super Bowl? I think I already answered that one. We zoom when, says Promises. Well, we zooming now. so that.
I mean, look at the screen. I mean, everything's zooming.
To be fair, I think Promises asked that question in the break. Right. Anyway, now we zoom, so that's good. We're zooming together. And very, very grateful to have you with us. Thank you to X-Ray for sponsoring this coverage. This is the EFRA 1/10 track IC European Championship, coming to you live from Gardini
Giardini Naxos.
Naxos World is the name of the track, I believe. And it's great to be here. The weather seems to be holding out now. The wind has picked up. But it's not
It
really
has
affected
just
the cars
picked up
that
again
much,
now,
has it?
though. No, that is a question I want to ask one of the racers when I get a chance. There are banners that are going down the main straight of the track, and I think it's a bit too much to ask if like in Formula One when they're driving into the wind, they actually brake a bit later because they have the extra downforce already. I don't think they're affected in that sense. But there's banners and a hedge that run along the main straight, so it's kind of protected by from the wind. I mean, so yeah, I don't think it's affecting them too much. I do see a second racer wearing motocross goggles, and it looks like they're wearing an Italian AMSCI shirt. So I think it might be borrowed from Filippo Domanin.
Share the love and the protective eyewear.
Yeah. Well, it just helps. You don't want a speck of dust to get in your eye when, although there's not. This isn't off-road, but your eyes get dried out. Some people, like if you've ever, anyone out there has ever watched someone like Petter Solberg or his son on in-car camera when they're racing, they literally don't blink. So it's you need to be able to see properly, and if you're not blinking, your eyes are drying out. As you're driving along, or as you're driving your car, I should say, and from all the wind that's blowing directly in your face.
In that shot, we obviously see the pit lane, and I'm pretty sure Zach can't hear me, but just a moment ago he was panned a little bit to the left, and you could see the pass hanging from the lanyard around the driver's belt loop, and in it was one of the EFRA exclusive EFRA 50 years coins.
Yes, have they already passed them out? Yeah, the AMSCI has been all the racers and the mechanics have been given the blue AMSCI lanyards, which I wanna get one of those myself. Ooh, and there goes a green car into the barrier. And also all the drivers this year, because it is EFRA's 50th anniversary. Started up, I believe it was sometime May 1973. I can't remember where exactly, but Julie Thurston actually posted.
In a pub in Switzerland.
Excellent. As all great ideas start in a pub, don't they?
Yes. With just over 3 minutes to go, my challenge to you is, can we cover 4 different drivers in the remaining 3 minutes?
Of course. Let's see who we're with now. We're on car number 7 right now of, let's see, this is Scuderi. So Zach has intuitively picked up on the fastest car out there. So Scuderi nearly getting, having to take some avoiding action on the number 3. That if he moves up a couple of cars, well, if he just stays with these two, wow, there we go. Look at that. Oh, that's one way to get past. Get sideways? Yep, I'll stick my nose under your rear bumper. Okay, so let's move up a couple of cars to the bright pink car, I believe. Sorry, Zach. Just at the end of the straight now. I thought we were on a different white car. There's a couple of white cars out there, and I got them mixed up. I'm sorry. So there's the number 2 bright pink car about to go through the kink. And he's got a gaggle of 3 cars, a white and 2 green cars, chasing him down. So this is the number 2 of, let's see who this is, Dan Jones, who actually, he broke out of one of the heats earlier. Dan is the chairman of the GTA 8 category. So he's doing a little bit of a recce run because, like I said, we're hoping to get the GTA at this same facility next year. Dan holding off. I missed the number. I think it's 3. We'll see who that is. He's the meat in the sandwich of these 2 green cars. That's the 8 and the 9. Grassa and Abramo, who's in second. So if we, let's see, the green and white cars. number 9 second. They're all mixing. Oh, there we go. That's not a quick way around. The number 5 getting tossed up with, I think that was Grassa. So we're still on Dan Jones. Lots of action happening around him. And let's see, the 2 cars, I can't tell which one is the leader because there's identical. Getting mixed up with Dan there. I think this is the one just crossing the finish line now is our leader. There we go. Bit of replay action. And that was one of our EFRA replays. So I think we're on our leader at the moment. Number 1 of Fiqueira. .30 seconds left in this race. Let's see if they can get Fiqueira can get 2 more laps in. Most of the cars are able to get in 16-second laps. Oh no, sorry. It wasn't. It must have been. I misheard it. I thought it said 30 seconds ago. It must have said 10 or something like that. Anyway, that's Fiqueira finished. I'm not sure if I got 4 in there, but I think we got 3 at least. So that's
I think
Fiqueira.
you got 3, yes. A valiant attempt.
Fiqueira, Grassa, Abramo, Scuderi, Delia, Jones, Cauchi, De Casare, and Caruana. I think there's 4 Maltese racers in this one. And I'm not sure if all of the rest that I've been putting the Italian inflection on are actually Italian. But you know.
So beautiful. You can make anyone sound Italian.
Yeah. Like Jones. Jonas.
Motocross goggles. There they go.
All right, so Heat 4, which is the 3rd group of touring car racers. Coming onto the stand now. You see the mechanics coming out onto the pit lane. I mean, I remember back in the day, you didn't have raised pit lanes. You just stood underneath or as close as you could to your driver. You shouted, and now these guys have noise-canceling radios and headphones and all sorts of stuff.
You just kind of squatted.
Yeah.
Squatted by it.
Yeah. Oh, parking lot racing, man. So this is just the warm-up. So it's the first time these guys have been on track in about an hour and a half or so. So the track's been, I wouldn't say it's been getting warmer. I mean, it's not the height of summer. I would say it's warm, but then I grew up in South Texas, so if the wind wasn't up, it would definitely be a lot warmer. But I don't see anybody coming out with temperature guns and checking the heat of the track or anything like that. And just so everybody's aware, everybody in this class is using the exact same tire. It's a very, very specific tire tech ruling. You come up, collect your tires from the technical hut at the warm-up tables. Your mechanic walks out, and then as soon as you're done racing, it immediately goes into tech where it's weighed and measured and everything. So this isn't a club race where anything goes. There's a lot of inspection. There's a lot of technical rules that have to be followed. There's a lot of processes and procedures that have to be followed. So you can't just throw your car on the track and go drive. That's open practice days. That was Monday and Tuesday. These guys are in full qualifying mode now. I don't believe there's even any tire truing. The tires are all pre-trued. I'm assuming you can balance the tires, but I don't think there's any need because they are just foam on high density or high impact nylon wheels. So it's quite a specific thing, a series of processes that you have to do to get out on track. So in this one, I think we're going to be looking at possibly the younger of the Domanin brothers, Francesco. You see we have a driver right next to our camera position. You see his hand there. You think Mussolino was one of the fast guys. Vandal didn't have any racing in the last group, in the last run. So we'll see what he can do. So there's this group and two more, and then we have a little bit of a break. We're going to show some of these interviews and talks that we've been mentioning all day long. And then we're going to have Super Pole with, I believe it's going to be 4 racers. And not, oops, we have a little mistake there in the pit lane. Should be okay. No one's really going out in the number order that they're meant to be. Let's see who we're following here. The white and the pink car. That is number 7 of Teddy Vandal. So let's stick with Teddy for a bit, because I'm sure we're going to see some action here. He's going to be very eager to make a good impression here on the timing. Because he basically his throwout round was 0, so he needs to have a good run. We have a inattentive marshal, unfortunately, in the middle of the track, getting shouted at by the other marshals even. But Teddy coming across the finish line, slightly sideways, hard braking in that hairpin, straighten that kink out. Full gas out of the sweeper down the straight, slightly little bobble sideways maybe, coasting through the pit section. Good lines generally. Well, I say that, but running 9th. See what he does when he crosses. Yep, staying 9th. Let's see if the car. We followed Domanin before. He's doing okay. I don't think we followed the car 2 of Mussolino, car 1 of Gloren. Let's see where we can find the car 1. I think car 1 is just going through the pit section now. The white, red, and black going through the kink. White, red, and black car. And you're on him. Good eyes coming through Pepe's corner, across the finish line, around the hairpin. And this is Gloren coming through the kink and onto the sweeper. Good lines, much smoother. You can visibly smoother, you can say. A little bit of a slide there maybe. Could have been coming too fast through the pit section. Little back end stepping out as well through Pepe's. It is a tight corner. It is 90 degrees. It may not look like it on camera, but it is a 90-degree corner at the end of the straight. Nice and wide track though, so there's plenty of space to make passes pretty much everywhere. Although the racing line, he's let through. Who's he let through? That green and blue car. Let's follow the green and blue car that is just past Gloren. I believe that's going to be Mussolino. And the 1, if it is, it's okay. No, it's the number 2, sorry. Yes, that is Mussolino. So Mussolino has done really well in this particular heat. So he might be able to escape the quarterfinals. And Mussolino coming up on the bright yellow car, number 3, that's Palois. Which I'm sure I'm murdering that name. I'm very sorry, Freddie. But Palois not making it as easy as Gloren did. And these are races, so it's all fair. Can't really call it blocking. So, and they're both coming up on the number 9 car. Who is that? That's Dominine, who's not having, the greatest of races, finishing in the midfield roughly every time so far. And they're really gathering up behind Francesco now. Francesco, cars are finishing behind them. I think these guys are still on a live lap because they have not stopped and racing to the end. And now they're all finished, I think. So it's the car 7 out there who's stopped Teddy Vandal, but I think he ran out of fuel just before, so he's all right. So yeah, that is Heat 3. Mussolino, Scuderi, Palois, Gloren, Turco Bryce, Francesco Dominine, Eduardo, Teddy Vandal, Liggey, and Ryskov is the finishing order in that one. So now we have the other cars. Drivers are already walking on to the rostrum. So we're going to have the older of the Dominine brothers out there. Looks like, is Francesco going to marshal or mechanic? No, Fabio's the mechanic for Francesco. Filippo, sorry.
Over on YouTube, continuing to watch along with us, which is fantastic. Juan Luis Roman Borasso says, thanks for the live. Well, thanks, Juan. Thanks for listening and watching. Andra Punawaman is watching. Hello, guys. Me from Indonesia. So, Indonesia we can add to our map of viewers,
That's excellent.
Awesome. Absolutely great to have you with us. Daniel Liu is saying, any French drivers for the race this weekend? I can't tell you all of them, but there's Alexandre Cazou, there is Jean-Marie Glorinek, and I just see them because they are in 20th and 21st place after the 4 rounds of qualifying. So there's at least 2. There's probably a few more.
Yeah, and I believe our race referee Fabio is also French.
There you go. He counts.
Yeah,
he counts. He's representing.
And there's a French racer has just marshaled one of the cars that's found itself stranded.
There you go. So lots of French action for you there, Daniel Liu, and many other nations as well. You're watching the EFRA 1/10 IC Track European Championships coming to you live. We're RC Racing TV. We're in Sicily, Gardini Naxos, and what a great facility it is. We've been battling the conditions, but we seem to be up and running, and qualifying is but 2 heats left. It's already decided top qualifier is Dario Balestri, but let's find out who's going to be in that Super Pole, which is coming up not long after qualifying finishes. We'll have some interviews for you, some other bits and bobs whilst we wait for Super Pole to crank into life. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be an exciting afternoon, and who knows, we might even bring you some quarterfinals. It's still undecided. Hey, Frank, we don't know. Quarterfinals today or tomorrow? We don't know.
Yeah, we
just keep watching and you'll find out.
Yeah, you'll find out when we know. But yeah, it's I don't think there's any more threat of rain really. I mean, I know some in the pits were trying to get just extra rounds of qualifying today. I have no idea if this is actually the last round or not. So we don't know.
Well,
I'm assuming it is so far.
Yeah, of course it is. Must be. It must be. Making me doubt myself now. No, there's only 5 rounds. But yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah.
There were those
but
campaigning for the extra increased rounds of qualifying and then the Super Pole, rather than doing 5 rounds of qualifying, then Super Bowl and 2 finals.
Well, I reckon one person, Dario Balestri, is probably quite satisfied and probably quite keen to keep it at 5, being as if you had more, he might not TQ, and he's TQ'd.
That's very true, very true. I'm sure he's settling back with a cafe.
And limoncello? No, not yet. He's got one more.
Well, there is limoncello at the bar.
Yeah, but he's got to drive another 4 minutes today, so probably best not to.
True. I thought you were going to say he's got to drive back to his hotel. He doesn't, actually, because he's walking here. We passed him and offered him a ride. He says, no, I like to walk. I sleep across the street. I'm like, okay, then.
Wow.
We'll see you at the track. Yeah. Brilliant. I mean, that's how chilled he is. And cool. You know, if you watch the track walk we did yesterday, he very graciously allowed himself to be dragged out to the track by myself in the rain, and did a track walk with us as I was asking him very simple questions and trying not to sound too stupid.
You did a very good job. 3 minutes 40 to go.
Yeah,
can we cover
they are off.
3 races? Can we cover 3 separate, maybe 4?
Yes, I'm sure we can. Let's start with this yellow car, the car number 5. Make it easy on ourselves. Car number 5 of Guillermo. I think it's Rowe. Rowe is the first. Roman? I think it's Roman. I'm not sure. And of course, we're going to have to cut to Filippo Domani. Domanine. Jeez. How did I start getting that wrong? Last year I was like, no, it's Domanine. And now it's all Domani. So if we drop back 1 car, Zach, that is Filippo, the elder of the 2 Domanine brothers. We're either likely to see a mild amount of brilliance or a wild amount of sideways action. Did you get that? Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like it. As he's about to come up on his number 5, crossing the finish line, hard braking into the hairpin, coasts it through the pit lane. I think he's not coasting it; he's actually braking coming into that second corner. The much tighter of the pit lane, the pit straight corners. He's definitely catching that number 5 of Guillermo, who's running in second. So he's not slow. This isn't a back marker that he's chasing down. He's chasing down the second fastest car. As the fastest car, he's chasing down the second fastest car. So you can see him visibly getting just a bit closer each time as the car is somersaulting in front of us. That is the number 6. So Filippo, I would say he's driving pretty smooth, especially compared to how he was last year in Gubbio. Maybe he's just more attuned to this track, or who knows. Let's see who else we can track down to follow. Who was the other one? It's Diekman, isn't it? Diekman just popped up into 3rd. He's in the car too. I'll see where we can find him, because he's definitely one that we want to find out how he's doing and if he's going to be able to get up into the final, into the semifinal. He's the white and green car, just about to come through the kink, Zach. He's going on the sweeper just now, white and green, chasing down the number 7, which is Kazao, I believe one of our French racers. So German racer being chased down by, chasing one of our French racers. So Thilo Diekman keeping himself very busy as he's getting sideways there. Keeping himself busy. Also running in the wide class, but he didn't run in this round. I think he's, like we were saying, it's just meant to be a fun class, so he's not pouring all of his effort into the wide. He's just keeping it pretty chill. He's catching up to Kazal as Kazal catches a bit of air. So that lets Diekman catch up by several meters now. Now he's right on his rear bumper, hanging under the rear wing. Let's see where Diekman's going to attempt to make the pass. Again, these guys are not obliged to let each other pass. I think, whoa! Now that's a finish. I think in the end there, the 7 finished ahead of Diekman. But no one's damaged, and both cars finished just fine. So it's Domanin, Guillermo, Licaris, Diekman, Shepis, Kazal, Pirella, Girita, Strasser, and Stefanizzi. The last 2 not able to finish properly. So the next group of racers is our top heat. So let's see what Balestri does. And whether he does do some experimenting or setup changes, maybe even experimental tire change. Not that they can change compounds or anything. Everyone's running the same compound, same width. They're not even truing the tires. But the right side tires are going to take a hammering on this. So if you remember last year in the final, Balestri took a big gamble and I believe did a full tire change, all 4 tires, which is what almost all of the racers did, but then did an additional stop for tires, doing the right side only because Gubbio has a banked turn and a left-hand sweeper coming onto the main straight and then a banked left-hand turn going to a very tight complex of corners.
Off, did it?
It did not pay off, and he lost the title. Well, lost the race, I should say, to Greiner, who I think that was his second or third win. I think it was his second. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm sure Dario, being a professional, he still sprayed the champagne. He was still very happy to be on the podium. But, of course, I'm sure that will be weighing on his mind.
Many stages of the event, it seemed to be his to lose.
Yeah,
it did
very
seem
much
like
so,
just
yeah.
a catastrophic error in judgment. He's kind of subtly blamed the pit team, I think, in the interview afterwards, but he was very disappointed. But as you say, by the time we got to the prize ceremony, he was incredibly professional and enjoyed it with the other guys ahead of him.
So we've got a couple minutes of warm-up remaining before the 4-minute qualifying round 5, heat number 5, kicks off, which we're fairly certain is going to be the final qualifying heat of the day. And then we're going to have Super Pole at 4:45.
I can't wait. The thing with Super Pole is it's incredibly exciting, but unfortunately it's split. It's quite stop-start because each driver has quite a lot of warm-up laps. So it's exciting for like 2 minutes, and then there's like 5 to 6 minutes of downtime.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It makes a great highlights clip. But you have to bear with us, and we watch the hype unfold. Just waiting to see who's going to be in it. Tony Gruber was in it last year, but it didn't work out for him then either.
Yeah, and sometimes the big highlight is early on, and sometimes the big moment never seems to come. You know. So, but we'll see what happens. And of course, some drivers. I don't think any of the on-road drivers are really hugely violently against the Super Bowl. It's I think it's just in off-road where we've seen 1 or 2 drivers just really hating Super Bowl, the whole idea of Super Bowl. But I think they're used to it in for the EFRA races now. So all the racers into the pits. You can see the cars. Or you can't see the cars, but they are in the pits, trust me. And now they're coming out. So just so we are on number 9 of Alex Thurston once again. We'll stick with him for a bit and see how things play out. What? So he's coming onto the main straight. Very, 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 very fast across the start-finish line. Just ahead of him is a group of 3 cars that are battling together, an orange, a white, and an orange. See if I can get those numbers. There's 3 orange cars in this one, again. That is the 6, the 8, and the 0. Has timing started? I swear this was the qualifying. I mean, it is qualifying. I thought the qualifying run had started. But the timing isn't counting down. Yeah, looks like we have lost connection to timing, so apologies for that. Don't know who is in the lead. Looks like our timing computer is still running, but somehow the information is not being passed to our graphics system. So, unfortunately, I can identify Thurston. Let's go to the 5 of Grosskamp, Zach. He's just about to go towards the kink just now. He's the white and orange with the blue stripy bits. It's Jonas Grosskamp, former world champion, European champion, at least in the 1/8 category. I'm not sure in the 1/10. I feel a bit bad asking these guys. And you're European champion in what now? Just remind me. But this is Yillis from Holland. He's actually got Dario just behind him once again, as we saw earlier today. So we got a chance to see them both together. We got them both in shot. So they are teammates. They are from different countries, but they are teammates on the Infinity team. Full-time racers. So it looks like Dario had a little bit of a mistake there somewhere. Number 6 car is just stopped on track. Can't tell which of the orange cars that is, or whose orange car that is, I should say. It's one of the Italian. I think it's Tironi. It looks like he's got both his hands, unfortunately, on the railing on the rostrum. So that's Tironi has finished his run, and there's only about a minute left now anyway. But it looks like Dario is not chasing down Yillis, so I think he is using this as maybe a test run or something. Just trying something out, and that's the end of the run. So yes, everyone has finished and come in. So with Dario Ballestri taking the pole, we have to wait a few minutes for the results website, which we have links to it in the YouTube and Facebook information for the live broadcasts. So check that out. You can see the live results as soon as we can see them. Basically, we don't have live timing like we sometimes are able to get from certain so.
And across the line, that is the wish, that is the win.
Dominic Greiner has won already, he just needs to cross the line, so he does so. Dominic Greiner is our European champion.
All right, here we are at the beautiful Giardini Naxos mini autodromo here with Alessio Mazzeo from just a little ways up the road. How are you doing, Alessio?
Fine, thanks, and welcome in Sicily and welcome in my home.
Perfect. And we have the beautiful towns of Taormina just behind us. If you're not aware and you haven't seen White Lotus 2 yet, that is where just one of those hills up there, I can't remember which, is where the actual, the whole series was shot, basically. So, Alessio, how's it been going for you?
It's super nice, it's super special to race in my own track. It's my first time in my career, so it's super nice, super stress also, because great emotion and also you want to do your best for sure, because you don't know if you have one more chance to race in your home, and that is fantastic. But for sure, we are super stressed. We have super stress.
Well, I can imagine what it's like. I mean, we were just chatting about Vito, who the man who runs the club here. Basically, he's super stressed. So I'm kind of asking you maybe some of the questions that we'd like to ask Vito on camera. But you're obviously you said that this is your second home. So how far away do you actually live from here?
So I live in Messina. It's 25 minutes far from the track. So basically, I passed my weekend in this place from 2017. This track before was a buggy track. They raced the World Championship EFRA in 2014. Then my home track that was in Messina closed, and they tried to put asphalt, and step by step we improve, and now we get an European Championship. So it's super nice.
It's amazing that this used to be basically it was the site of the Worlds, where I think it was Ty Tessman who won it.
Yes, it was Ty Tessman.
Yeah, and so it's been flattened. I think on Google Maps, if you look up Mini Autodromo Giordano Naxos, the track is still dirt in the satellite in the aerial photos. So that's what it used to look like, and now it looks like this. It's just amazing. So how fresh is this tarmac? I mean, it looks, obviously it's wet, so it looks quite black, but it looks really fresh anyway. I mean, the AstroTurf, everything is beautifully painted. How new is this? When has been refreshed, do you think?
The asphalt is 5 years old, and is particular because they use the dirt by Etna, by Vulcano. Yes, it's true. It's more, has the characteristic that usually we have a lot of grip. Also during the week, if you come to test something and nobody drive, for sure you have a good grip and you can test. And I think that the powerful of this track is this.
That's amazing, and obviously we've shown the background of Etna when we were talking earlier with Yillis. So what? I mean, how you may have seen that we called this the Battle of Mount Etna. So I mean, how amazing is it to live in this area where it's just, you have the sea on one side, a volcano on the other side, and this beautiful track. It's just so amazing.
We are lucky for sure because we have the super nice weather and we can choose to go to ski on the Vulcano. Usually in the winter I pass the 10 days to ski on Etna, and it's really particular because there aren't three. So when you go with the ski, you see the sea. It's super nice.
That's amazing. Now you're with a new team for this year, I believe, aren't you? Capricorn. You moved over from your previous sponsor. So how has that been going for you to be with Capricorn?
So the end of the COVID, I switched from X-Ray to Serpent, and from Fabio Domani, that was my mechanic for 15 years, to race alone. And then I wanted to try someone that trusts in me like Fabio, and I found Patrizio. I say a big thanks to him because he chose to take me in the worst period of my career, and now I'm super happy. We are super happy, and also to represent an Italian brand for me is an honor, so it's super good.
It's a bit like Rossi riding a Ducati, isn't it?
Yes.
That's amazing. Oh, I do remember. I mean, we met up after the last Euros in Gubbio. We saw each other at a gelateria, and you seemed pretty down.
Yes. Because Gubbio is my second home. After this club, my second club is Gubbio. So in Gubbio last year, I also thinking to stop to race because it was a really bad experience for my performance with many problems with the car, and was, I think, the lowest point of my career. And after a conversation with Patrizio, he convinced me to come back, and today I'm happy, so it's super nice.
That's fantastic. I'm really glad it's turned around for you, and it's really nice to see you again. one of the very friendly faces in the paddock for sure. Alessio Mazzeo from Capricorn. All right, so hope you enjoyed that interview with Alessio Mazzeo, the local man of the track. So we're going to end the stream here, and we'll be back for Super Pole. And make sure and check out, remember to stay on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz. And we'll be back very, very soon.